Nobody told you this, but you've felt it deep in your gut, like a quiet discomfort you couldn't explain. You chase her. You text first. You plan the dates. You're available, attentive, reliable, and yet, instead of drawing her closer, something feels off. She seems distant, bored, like she's emotionally clocking out while you're showing up harder than ever. That's because women don't thrive on constant comfort. They don't fall deeply in love with what's handed to them too easily. It goes against the natural current of feminine energy. She may appreciate your kindness, but it doesn't ignite her. She may enjoy your company, but it doesn't awaken her. That's the hidden truth most men never hear. A woman needs to feel like she's earned your attention. Not because love should be transactional, but because desire is emotional tension. It's the spark between what she wants and what she's not quite sure she has. The second she senses she's got all of you, no questions asked, no standards, no boundaries, that spark dies. Not because she's cruel, not because she's broken, but because she's wired to chase emotional significance, not emotional saturation. And when you chase too hard, you stop being significant. You become expected, routine, predictable. You're no longer the man she was drawn to, just there, always. And in her world, that breeds detachment. You think you're showing love, but what you're really doing is erasing the very mystery that made her attracted to you in the first place. A woman craves the feeling of pursuit. She wants to wonder. She wants to feel like your presence is a privilege, not a given. That's not about being cold, it's about being rare. And rarity, not availability, is what stirs her soul. From the time you were young, you were probably taught that a good man proves himself through constant effort, that to be worthy of love, you need to always be available, always supportive, always giving. You were told that the more you do for her, the more she values you, that showing up endlessly is what earns her loyalty. But here's the reality. Most men learn the hard way constantly. Proving yourself doesn't make her more attracted. It makes her emotionally lazy. It removes the need for her to invest, to reciprocate, to step up and meet you. You turn into the emotional supplier while she becomes the passive receiver. And when she's not emotionally working for your presence, she stops appreciating it. Because what costs her nothing means nothing. When you give endlessly, compliment her constantly, answer every call, and cater to her every mood, you step off your throne and into her emotional maze. You lose your power trying to win her approval. And that's not love, that's servitude. Attraction dies when masculine energy becomes submissive. You were never meant to beg for love with good behavior. You were meant to embody love through self-respect, through calm direction, through emotional clarity. She doesn't want a man who tries to keep her. She wants a man who could walk away, but chooses her because she earned that place. That unspoken standard, that's what keeps her feminine. That's what keeps her trying. So if you think giving more and more will eventually win her heart, understand this. Love isn't something you prove by doing everything. It's something she feels when you do less, but do it from strength. She falls in love with your energy, not your effort. And when you reverse that, you start losing her, piece by piece. Women are emotionally wired for pursuit. It's not about playing games or withholding love, it's about maintaining the emotional gravity that makes a connection feel alive. When a woman senses movement, tension, unpredictability, her emotions stay engaged. That's why, when you're slightly distant, focused on your path, and not constantly checking in, she feels pulled toward you. There's a subtle emotional momentum at play. She feels the need to earn your attention, to secure her place in your world. And that effort keeps her invested. On the flip side, when you give her everything up front, her time, your energy, your validation, she doesn't have to do anything. There's no emotional motion required, and without motion, attraction fades. It's not because she wants to suffer for love, it's because her feminine energy needs to feel something in order to stay connected. That tension between desire and uncertainty is what keeps her feminine essence active. When you're too available, that tension disappears. It becomes flat, safe, predictable, and safety without polarity breeds emotional numbness. She may not even know why she's drifting. She'll just say she's not feeling it anymore. But deep down, it's because the dance has stopped. She has nothing left to chase. You became too still, too secure, too known. Masculine energy is rooted in stillness, but that stillness must be self-centered, not oriented around her. When you remain focused on your own purpose, she feels the contrast. She feels the challenge. And that challenge makes her feel alive. She wants to close the distance. She wants to re-engage. So remember, it's not about withdrawing love, it's about preserving the dynamic that keeps her feminine. And that only happens when there's something left for her to reach for. Look back at any relationship where a woman was deeply drawn to you. Odds are, it wasn't when you were pouring yourself into her nonstop. It wasn't when you were texting her good morning, good night, and checking in every few hours. It was when you were centered, focused, slightly unavailable, not out of neglect, but because you had a life, a purpose, a mission that didn't revolve around her. And in that space, she felt the pull. The more you stayed in your masculine frame, calm, grounded, not emotionally chasing, the more she leaned in. That wasn't accidental. That was instinct. Feminine energy is magnetized to masculine stillness, but it only feels that magnetism when the masculine isn't giving itself away for free. When you hold your ground, when you remain emotionally unmoved by her tests, her moods, her shifts, she feels safe and challenged. That's the paradox that drives desire. A woman doesn't want to feel like she owns you emotionally. She wants to feel like she earned you, like she chose well, and that choosing matters because you don't belong to just anyone. That emotional selectivity is what elevates your value in her mind. But the moment you start chasing, trying to maintain her interest with effort, you lose your edge. You stop being the man she admired and start becoming the man she tolerates. Not because you've changed physically, but because your energy has shifted from self-led to her-led, and in that dynamic, her desire fades. So understand this, your presence is powerful when it's not dependent on her reaction. Stay grounded, stay calm. Let her feel that she must come to you, because that's when she feels the most feminine, the most alive, and the most in love. So when she says you're not giving her enough attention, don't react out of fear. Don't immediately rush to fix it. That's the trap most men fall into, thinking that her momentary discomfort means you're doing something wrong. But often, what she's really doing is testing your frame. She wants to feel that you're not shaken by her emotions, that your world doesn't collapse just because she expresses dissatisfaction, that you're still rooted, still grounded, still living by your code, not hers. The truth is, women don't want to feel like they control you emotionally. They don't want all your time, all your focus, and all your affection and demand. They think they do, but the second you give it to them, they lose respect, because what costs them nothing holds no weight. That tension you once created by being selective, by being centered, by having boundaries, that's what kept her emotionally invested. The moment you abandon that to make her happy, you kill the very dynamic that made her desire you. So let her speak, let her express. But don't bend your core, trying to constantly reassure her. Your attention should be earned, not begged for. Not because you're trying to manipulate, but because it teaches her to value your presence, that you're not emotionally cheap, that your love is a choice, not a donation. She'll respect that far more than any dozen good morning texts. She'll feel pulled toward you not because you're trying harder, but because you're standing taller. A woman wants to feel like she's with a man who can't be moved by pressure, a man who doesn't need to chase because he knows he's the prize. And when you own that energy fully, she won't want attention, she wants your approval. That's when she truly falls.